Why succession planning fails. By the end of this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 silent killers that actually turn a valuable asset into a valueless liability. Hey, we need to pull back the curtains on all the lies that owners tell themselves about succession. I'm going to explain to you why being the hero is actually killing the value of your business. You ever feel like you spent 20 years building something that maybe nobody wants to buy? Hey, why do we not plan? I mean, this is one of those things that you kind of look at and go, I know I need a plan. There's planners everywhere. The military plans, football teams plan, everybody plans. Why don't I plan? Well, I think there's a couple reasons why we don't plan. I mean, number one, let's just face it. Let's have an honest conversation here. I think sometimes inertia kicks in and we're just lazy. Like, we just don't want to do it. And so I think that's one reason. But there's some other reasons that I think are a little subtler and probably a little bit more common. One is what I call the cross that bridge myth. Hey, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And so we just kind of kick the can down the road. And when we do finally cross that bridge, we realize that the bridge is not prepared to be crossed. And so it causes problems, not just for ourselves, but for other people. But I actually think the most subtle reason that we fail to plan is what I call the special snowflake syndrome. Well, that doesn't apply to me. I'm the special snowflake. We work with a lot of contractors, so we give those contractors a hard time all the time because they'll tell us stuff like this. Well, Scott, this is construction. It's different. I'm like, really? Like, it's harder than running an event space? It's harder than running any other business that's out here? Yeah, there's a lot of details. In fact, we tell our contractors all the time, the tools of your trade are not hammers and nails. They're calculators and calendars. You have to think differently about how you're doing it. But we've got to get out of this, well, I'm different. Or, hey, what about this 5% exception, even though there's 95% of the rule? And so as business owners, one of the reasons succession fails, and this is not going to be one of my 5, but you need to understand it's this mindset that we've got to start busting. And that is, we're special snowflakes, my situation is different, or I'm going to kick the can down the road and cross the bridge when I come to it. All right, so the first silent killer of why succession planning fails is number one, very simply, and this is the number one reason it fails, is because there is no system to transition. All the systems are bottled up right here in the business owner's head or in the head of 1 or 2 people. And so they take the things like the RPMs of great leadership, repetition, predictability, and meaning, and they don't even touch them. They take the things like the 4 Ps of every solid business: purpose, people, process, and profit, and they never pay them any attention. They take the 4 core systems that every business ought to have articulated in a process document: marketing, sales, operations, and administration, and they're just like, hey, we hired experienced people, they should know how to do it. No, that's not a system that we've got to do. We've got to be able to take the system out of this owner's head and put it in a package that other people can get access to it. They need to be able to run the business the way you run the business, or else that business will not be transitioned. The name might be transitioned, the bookkeeper might be transitioned, some of the team members might be transitioned, but the ethos of the business and the value it brings will not be able to be transitioned unless there is a system in place. This is the number one silent killer of every business. Did you know that 80% of the value of your business is caught up in the system of that business? But if you don't have a system, you radically devalue the value of that business. Now, the second silent killer is that there is no personal plan. In other words, you don't have a plan for what happens after you transition that. Now, you might look at that and go, I mean, I can come up with that. Man, give me that all day long. I've been working all my life. You give me one day off, I'll go play golf. Yeah, we live in the southern part of South Carolina, surrounded by retirees, and I can tell you that some of the grumpiest people on earth are the people that labored for 30, 40 years, retired to go play golf, and now play golf 365 days a year. It's not the life they ended up wanting, but it's the life they feel like they have to tell you they enjoy. And the reality is, most of us don't have a personal plan for what happens after I transition this thing that fundamentally has been my identity for the last 10 or 30 or 50 years. Just pause for a second. Let's use wisdom, discretion, thoughtfulness. Let's develop a personal plan. And as a SEPA advisor, Certified Exit Planning Advisor, one of the scorecards that we walk every owner through is a personal readiness scorecard. So why would we think that we can just bypass that and move off into life thinking it's far better out there without this thing that I have here? We've got to have a personal plan in place if you don't want to succumb to the silent killer of succession planning. The third silent killer, as we look at no system, no personal plan, is we get down to this thing. Now, I'm going to get a real bad artistry here, but I'm going to try. This is supposed to be a can. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our foot and we're going to kick that can down the road. That's pretty good, isn't it? Now, don't take a picture of that, but you get my point. And so we take that, we're going to kick this can down the road, and I'm sure it'll all work out. In this situation, in most cases, it does not all work out. Now, I will tell you this, if you don't have a plan or if you just want to kick the can, the good news is the federal government has a plan for you. It's called probate. It costs about 50% of whatever you got, and it's going to be bottled up in courts for a long period of time, and I promise you it'll be a burden on the people that you love. So let's not do that. I appreciate the fact that they put something in place for us, but let's do something very, very different. And let's not kick the can down the road, and let's instead create a succession plan that's going to bring life to the people that you want to transition this to, and that's going to bring life to the people who will draw benefit from. The fourth silent killer might surprise you a little bit, and so I'm going to get started on this one while I talk. And the fourth silent killer to every business is too many chiefs in the kitchen. So, a friend of mine one time, we were out working an event with AIA, and so we were dealing with a lot of architects and started talking to those architects and asking them about their business. And one particular architect, when we talked to him about this idea of partnership, he said, yeah, we have 17 partners. 17 partners? I think it was Dave Ramsey who popularized the statement, the only ship that doesn't sail is a partnership. And yet they had 17 of these. Now I know that's not 17, but you get my point as to where I'm going with this. The truth is, many of us have too many chiefs in the kitchen, and we got too many voices going, no, let's do this, I want a piece of this, give me a piece of this. And instead of just going, no, this is what we're going to do, and having to lead through fear and doubt, which by the way is a thing for business owners, it's leading through fear and doubt. And we have to lead through that and go, what does the business need? That is a great question to ask. What does the business need? And so when we start looking at business need, then we can start to understand what do we need in terms of principles? What do we need in terms of partners? And I can tell you this, most businesses don't need 17 partners in order to operate. A simple question to ask yourself is, in order for this person to be any partner in the equity of this business, they have to bring a value that's so unique that we can barely find it anywhere else. And if they were to leave, we would have a massive gap in that business. And so even then it's hard to bring them into partnerships. Because the reality is that partnerships is hard. Why? It's because marriage is hard. And partnerships are kind of like a marriage. There's just a little bit more legality involved in them. But the truth is this is really too hard. And if you're in a partnership right now, it's worth you evaluating, is the partnership bringing value to the partnership? That's a really important question for you to be able to ask, even in the silence of watching this video by yourself. I will tell you this, in our experience over the last over 10 years of us working with business owners, the hardest situation to work with is partnerships. We do a lot of work with partnerships and work really well with them. But the reason they're so challenging is there's not clarity and unity between those two partners because they've never sat down to go through the paperwork, operating agreements, shotgun clauses, all of this stuff to say this is how we're going to operate. And the fifth killer, I don't think this is going to surprise you, and I hope it doesn't offend you, but there's nobody out there who wants to buy what you have to sell. We see that in down markets in real estate. Now, this fifth silent killer comes straight back to the first, because people will buy what you have to sell when you have a system to sell them. We get under this myth that the product, they're going to buy the product. Look at the quality craftsmanship. They don't care about your product. What they care about is the system and the process via which the product comes into being. Because in doing that, they can go back and they can start to equip their customer and they can start to lean into their customer even though you're not going to be there. Remember, the buyer's ultimate question is, can this business run without you? Because if the business can't run without you, I either need you here to run it or I'm not going to buy it. And so the fifth silent killer is nobody's out there to buy what you have to sell. So here's the good news. I've created a video for you that will be well worth your time. We have chocked it full of the experience that we've had to be able to walk you through and help you build a system with step one, is that is creating the clarity that you need category by category. So I want you to click on the link in the description below. It's going to walk you through 7 categories to build the starter version of that succession plan and what we call your vision story. It's going to be well worth your time. My name is Scott Beebe. We work with business owners between 3 and 100 employees so you can be liberated from chaos, not succumb to these silent killers, and make time for the things that matter most.